Have you ever felt like your organization is just drowning in data, but at the same time starving for actual wisdom? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on data governance. It's kind of the secret weapon that turns all that data chaos into a real competitive advantage. We'll get into what it is, who's actually in charge, and how it can literally transform your business.
Okay, so why is data governance suddenly the topic on everyone's radar? Well, it all starts with a simple, but really crucial question.
I mean, really think about it. Is your data a gold mine or is it a minefield? That is the billion-dollar question, right? Because today, your data can either be the fuel for your growth or it can become your single biggest liability. The choice, believe it or not, is yours.
To give you a sense of scale here, just how big is this data explosion we're talking about? Way back in 2010, IDC research predicted that digital data would grow at a staggering 42% every single year. And you know what's crazy? That was actually an underestimate. We're living in a total data deluge now, and honestly, most organizations are just struggling to keep their heads above water.
And look, this isn't just about finding somewhere to store all that stuff. With regulations like GDPR popping up, if you have just one customer in Europe, this applies to you. And the fines for getting it wrong? We're not talking about a slap on the wrist. They are absolutely business-ending. The stakes have never been higher.
So, how in the world do you tame this data beast and turn it into your greatest ally? Well, the answer is surprisingly simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. It's called data governance.
Think of it like this. It's the ultimate quality control system for your most valuable asset. Data governance is basically the rulebook, the set of processes that make sure your data is accurate, it's consistent, and it's secure. It's what makes your data something you can actually trust.
And it's not just some standalone task you check off a list. As you can see right here in the DMA-DMBOK framework, which is a huge industry standard, data governance is the heart, the absolute core of your data ecosystem. It's the conductor of the orchestra, making sure every single piece, from security to analytics, is playing in perfect harmony.
But you know, a great framework is only half the battle. The real magic, where it all comes together, is when you have the right people in the right roles. So let's meet the masters of the data universe.
So who actually owns the data in your company? It's a question that honestly stumps most leaders. But it doesn't have to be that complicated. Let's just break it down with a simple analogy. Think of it like running a library. Okay, first up, you've got the data owner. Think of this person as the head librarian. They're not going around shelving every single book, but they are ultimately accountable for the entire collection. They're the ones setting the rules and making the big strategic decisions. Then you have the data steward. Now, this is your specialist librarian. You know, the expert on the history section, for example. They are on the front lines day in and day out, making sure every book is in its right place and in perfect condition. They are the true guardians of data quality. And finally, we have the data custodian. This is the library's IT and facilities manager, the tech guru. They're in charge of the actual infrastructure, the servers, the security systems, the databases. They make sure the library itself is a safe and secure home for all of that precious knowledge. And here is the absolute key takeaway. The data owner is accountable for the results, for the outcomes. The data steward is responsible for the day-to-day tasks that get you there. It's a subtle difference in wording, I know, but it's a crucial distinction that makes all the difference in the world.
Okay, so now we know who's who in our data library. The big question is, how do we put all of this together to create a data governance program that actually, works?
It really all comes down to these three key pillars. You've got policies, that's your what and why. You've got processes, that's the how. And of course, you've got people, that's the who. If you can get these three things right, you are well on your way to data governance success. And here's a pretty solid roadmap to get you there. It's a 6-step journey, right? It takes you all the way from assigning the roles and setting your goals to actually implementing, and this is key, continuously improving your program. This is so important. It's an ongoing process, not a one-and-done project. And the payoff for doing this? It's huge. A solid data governance program is basically your secret weapon for things like GDPR compliance. It helps you find your data, manage it, protect it from all sorts of threats, and, critically, prove that you're doing everything by the book. So we've talked a lot about the what and the how, but let's get to the real heart of it. What about the why? Why does any of this actually matter to your bottom line? Okay, here's something that might actually surprise you. According to some great research from BARC,
it's often the finance department that takes the lead on data governance. Now, why is that? Well, it's pretty simple when you think about it. At the end of the day, bad data costs a ton of money, and good data makes money.
But listen, here's the real secret to success. The absolute top-performing companies, they treat data governance like a team sport. They create these cross-functional teams, pulling in experts from all across the business. And it makes sense, right? Because when everyone has a stake in the game, everyone wins.
So, when you strip it all away, data governance isn't really about rules and regulations. It's about trust. It's about building a foundation of trust in your data. Because when you can trust your data, you can make better decisions, you can move faster, and you can innovate with confidence. That's how you turn your data from a liability into your most valuable asset.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Who are the data masters in your organization? And hey, if you don't know the answer right off the bat, that's okay. But it's probably time to find out. Because that journey to becoming a truly data-driven company, it starts with that single step, taking ownership of your data.